Hey everybody, Zach here. Today I'm by my lonesome self. No Saray, but we're going to go through things anyway. I want today to talk about a couple different things, but the big topic is everything we've gone wrong. I like to brag here on the Hobby Collab that we are this channel that does all the things related to Age of Sigmar. We do the hobby, we do the playing, which is critical, and we do the gabbing. We've had in our possession, the core group of us have had the General's Handbook in our possession since mid-April, even earlier than that, maybe. I can't remember when we got it. We've played a lot of games. There's been a lot of buzz going around the internet about different things with the different you know, what are the best battle tactics everyone's been talking about. How's obscuring work? Folks at home, you guys have probably had the book down for about a week, maybe not even really. So I wanted to talk about everything we've gone wrong, and as you sally forth to play your games of Age of Sigmar in the Scourge of Gyran world, what's the mindset you should have? And I want to be the one to tell you that, because I know that you're here because you can't do that for yourself. And that's the whole purpose of the internet, really, is to come here and have somebody who is, I guess, qualified to tell you how to feel. So a couple things before we get started. One, we're not going to do any science today in honor of Saray, because he's really the lead scientist. He really is the one that understands how ranking models works instead of me. I don't really know how any of that works. So we're going to leave that for him. I'm going to be answering questions in chat, so at me. We do appreciate, as always, support. I'm going to bring this up a couple times as more people filter in. We do appreciate support in the form of super chats. I'll always answer a super chat. I mean, heck, why not, right? But if you have another question, if you have another thought, please put it in chat. It's right here in front of me. I can see it. Second thing I want to call out is we do have a membership goal. We always have a membership goal on this show. I'm going to try to get 15 members today. 15 new members, gifted memberships. Of course, if you just become a member, we'll add that. That's even more awesome. And remember, if you gift a membership, you can change our text here at the bottom of the screen. Right now, you can see we have, I think it's fairly easy to read, but you can change it. And also remember, if you're getting freaked out by what it looks like down there, you can always reset with a gifted membership. You can say, I demand a reset. We'll reset it to what it's supposed to say, and then we can move on with our life. Kind of curious, first vibe check. I just want to get people from chat to hear, what are you guys thinking so far, Scourge of Gyran? If you've gone a game or two in, what did you notice right away with the new rules, with the battle tactics? I feel like is one of the things that hits the hardest. We're going to talk about those. But I want to jump in and I want to talk about what we got wrong right away. And I have a friend here with me today, and it's not so much always everything that we got wrong as much as it is what maybe we failed to notice. Okay, here's my friend, and you can see a picture there of my friend. There's actually a picture of my other friend, Home Invader. That's what we've got here today. Okay, sorry, I'm getting texts and from people. Sorry. Okay, so we've got here the Aethervoid Pendulum. So this, I think, right here is maybe one of the number one things that we quote unquote got wrong as an internet community, as content creators. We failed to predict the current heavy Aethervoid Pendulum meta. Now, specifically Aethervoid Pendulum, but what I really mean is Ether wrought machineries. When you get the new, when you get your new General's Handbook, if you haven't picked it up yet, what you're going to get are these cards. These cards are the manifestations. Remember one thing: all manifestations, weirdly not all that talked about. is that all of them went to a 6-up save and a 6-up ward. So previously things, and this includes the Crown Spine, previously things like the Crown Spine with its 4-up save now has a 6-up save. We were wondering how was Matt Rose going to push us into using, the manifestations that are for our faction, for those of us who have those, which is getting to be more and more of us. And this, I think, is one of the ways he's doing that. If you look, for example, I took the Nighthaunt ones the other day. If you look at the Nighthaunt ones, the Sickle 4-up save. They all have still their stats. Those stats have not changed. So right away, we're seeing that you get just a little bit more durability out of faction-specific manifestations. But some factions, Cities of Sigmar, currently Ideneth Deepkin, still don't have their own manifestations. So the question kind of is, for those of us who are taking a universal manifestation, which one are we taking? And we are seeing Aethervoid Machinery really be a bit like the pick at this point. Okay, and it makes sense, right? Because it's 0, as Polly says, it's free is free. It's 0. And you're comparing Aethervoid Machineries to Twilight, as I'm told it's called, Twilight sorceries. Twilight sorceries' kind of big problem, I think, is that everything costs a lot to bring out. Everything costs 7 to bring out. By contrast, everything in Aethervoid is 6. The cards, super awesome, handy by the way. Have them here. Really nice. For as long as they're accurate, they're quite good. We have on one side of the card here. Actually, I'll go back to this view real quick. Okay, there we are. So on one side of the card, you have all the information on how to summon it, and then on the other side of the card, you have one of the manifestations, and then the other card is like, so here's all you need. You need these 2 cards if you're taking Aethervoid. The Chronomatic Cogs is on the back here with all the information. Aethervoid Pendulum is here. Swords is here. You get a little, if you haven't seen this yet, you get a little information here about how to summon things, all the summoning reference, everything you need on one card. It's not in different areas, so it's super handy. What are you guys, folks at home, what are folks at home taking if you are not taking your faction-specific one? Or even if you have the ability to take a faction-specific one, like Nighthaunt, like Soulblight now, like most factions, right? But some really key factions still don't have one. Cities, Seraphon come to mind. We are pretty sure we've been given some evidence online that Deepkin are about to get one. And we know that this is something Matt Rose has said. As new books come out, he's making sure that we're getting faction terrain and we're getting manifestation lore. But in our games, I will say, in our games here at the studio, I feel like half of our games have had the pendulum. I see the pendulum. Saray loves this thing. And otherwise, I think, yeah, the other ones are still good, right? Primal is still good. Morbid is still good. But they all have gone a little worse. They've gone a little fightier. Like, take the Burning Head not the Burning Head. Ravenax Gnashing Jaws. It went from a 5-up save to a 6-up save. That's not a huge deal, but it's really lost its ability. Not that the Burning Head ever wanted to stay in protracted fights anyway, but it's really lost its ability, say, against something with a little bit of shooting. You summon this thing, 6-up save. It does have 10 health, 6-up ward. Something with a little bit of shooting can just shoot this thing off the board before you even get a chance to do anything. So, people maybe not wanting to invest. It feels like this is like the worst proposition, right, of a life change. Somebody tells you whatever it was you used to get, you now pay for, and also it's worse. So I think that's why Aethervoid is kind of popular, because it's still free. The pendulum is nasty. Also, we know that. This is why I specifically use the pendulum. Cogs is a little challenging to use. Swords is kind of swords is fine, but again, not very durable. Very easy. It's going off and looking to pick fights, and it can easily lose those fights. So this is number 1. I think we weren't sure how this would shake out. I know here at the Hobby Club, it wasn't a big thing we talked about. But we started making lists, and our first list started coming in for the studio, and these were popping up everywhere. hopefully you have them if you don't have your own specific ones. Okay, topic 1 down. Topic 1 down. Topic 2. Terrain. Okay, this is a picture of terrain. You can see there's trees and moss, which are bushes, but small. So terrain was something we want to talk about. Now, I have here with me also the cards. And what I wanted to call out is we had this impression that terrain would be a major part of this game. Terrain is certainly more a part of this game. Forever ago, back in 3rd edition, creators at Sigmar were asking, what is something Sigmar players want to see more of? And time again, it was that the double turn was less impactful. I actually didn't bring up the double turn today, but I think we will sneak it in and find some time to talk about it because we have a lot of thoughts on the double turn here at the studio. The double turn was maybe not that it was more impactful, that actually less impactful, or that it was less clear of a choice. If you think back to 3rd ed, if you were playing in 3rd ed, we got to you got that roll, you beat your opponent on the priority roll, and you could double turn 9 times out of 10. It felt like the right move. That has changed a lot, and we'll talk about that. What happens here though is the double turn was like the one big thing that people said, okay, this is something that needs to change. Terrain wanted to be more useful. We wanted more useful terrain. It's something else that players, content creators said, let's have more useful terrain. So we have more useful terrain, more impactful terrain. But here's I can grab any one of these missions and kind of show you what we all failed to see, quote unquote. But I think like when you look at it, it makes total sense, right? So here's a good example. Here, we'll do Passing Seasons. John and Brad played Passing Seasons last night. And there it is, Passing Seasons. Played Passing Seasons last night. I have a battle plan card that I'll pull up a little bit later. We can see the same thing. And when we play this mission, they give you a recommendation of where you put terrain. Okay, you can see here there are 4 large pieces, and there are 4 small pieces in the corners. Okay, I think one of the things that we really this is on the back here. This is Faye. You see the small pieces going across the center of the board there. Individual pieces of terrain. We missed a lot as content creators, as early as anyone who got the book early. One of the things we missed is how much individual terrain types had been changed. We've missed this so much that I can tell you right here in this book, in the General's Handbook, page 51. I had that. Why do I have that memorized, right? Have that memorized because that is clearly the page that we are going to the most to check the rule, and it's the terrain rule. It's all of the different terrain. You got Reikenor here on the bottom to remind us as we're flipping through fast. The word obscuring has been added to almost every type of terrain. So, like, the terrain itself has been finely tuned in ways that we haven't really been talking about on the interweb. So, I'll give you an example. Area terrain. Okay, when they just tell you to put down a piece of area terrain, it has the obscuring keyword. It's not the category obscuring terrain, which of course also has the obscuring keyword, but it has the obscuring keyword. Places of power have the obscuring keyword. So, like, they have finely tuned the terrain to make everything more obscuring. And our initial thought when you hear that is you say, oh, this is going to be just like packed with mayhem, packed with like no one's going to be able to see anything all the time. Here in the Hobby Club, if you guys watch our shows, our games, you'll notice that we use larger pieces of terrain than you are going to see at a GT. You're going to see it in RTT. Again, I pull up the card to show you that really, if you look at these terrain pieces, right, they don't take up that much space. If you go to a GT, if you go to an RTT, most of the terrain at a place, especially like a local store, the terrain is small. People are putting down, one of those like forest, like the kidney forest, right, with the pre-made trees. Not that big of a piece of terrain. Terrain is less impactful than we thought it would be, I'm feeling, on the channel, because quite frankly, at the end of the day, there is a lot of space, including objectives, where you're out in the open, right? You're out in the open way more than you think you are. We're going to talk about places of power, because I know Polly's going to say, Zach, you're wrong, because you can turn everything into an obscuring piece of terrain, including objectives. We're going to get there in a second. So yeah, I think this is a thing that as you play your games, and I want to focus on one faction coming up here and their role in this. As you go forth and play your games in the Scourge of Gyran, I would strongly encourage you to not be fearful of terrain. That said, have conversations with your casual opponents about how much terrain you guys want on the board. And I would also say, if you're going to a GT, you're going to an RTT next weekend after that, reach out to please reach out to the TO and be like, or ask publicly, so the other attendees can see, how big is the terrain going to be? Like, how big are the pieces of terrain going to be? Yeah, so I'm reading what Dave Ellis says here. Obscuring didn't come up much. Yeah, Dave, this is what we've been finding too. Doesn't affect fly, doesn't affect monsters. Only blocks stuff on the ground that's wholly within 1 inch of it. Correct. Yeah, and again, not anything with fly, not any monsters. It does come up a lot. It's something we're being more mindful of. I shouldn't say it doesn't come up, but it comes up way less than I think we all thought it was going to. We all thought shooting units were done for. We all thought, anything like fly would be a big liability. In tomorrow's game, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Tomorrow's game, 11 a.m. Pacific time, Night Haunt. I'm taking Night Haunt against Cities of Sigmar shooting list. I mean, I forp unrendable saves and 5-up and 6-up wards. Really not worried about 3 cannons. Like, they're going to shoot me. I'm going to make saves. I'm going to fail saves. It's going to happen, right? So I think that a little bit of overreaction, because it is being focused on more than it has previously. But again, if you really think back to previous editions of Age of Sigmar, including even the beginning of 4th edition, terrain is there. We're often using terrain. I mean, especially again, somebody who plays Night Haunt, they don't really care about it. But a lot of factions are using terrain literally just to take their lands, just for like a battle tactic or something. How often are you actually packing in, 10 gut rippers into a piece of terrain? All right, they're a bad example. They can be -1 to hit otherwise. But how often are you packing in your unit into a piece of terrain and saying, I'm going to live in here now and sit here all or most of the game and get -1 to hit? Well, that hasn't changed. You still can't do that in Gyran. You can't sit in terrain if you want to score battle tactics, if you want to do things. So take shooting, right? If you're a shooting army, I would say, like, don't overthink this. Don't be doom and gloom about it in particular. So, yes. Now, System Ref brings up a good point. One thing that this has helped, he says, it's less that everything is obscured all the time and more that's a choice the player can make for specific units, especially heroes and small units. That's a good point, right? Like, and we're also thinking about, I know John, who's in chat, has been talking a lot about MSU, right? MSU is not a phrase we've heard in Sigmar in a little while. We think of that for 40k, but MSU is starting to be a thought, like multiple small units not reinforcing your units, right? I think that and small heroes are going to benefit. And honestly, Assistant Ref and others, I don't see it as a bad thing. I think if it's harder to kill a foot hero, I think that's a good thing. We're investing a lot of how an army works in a small little 5-wound model. Giving that model rules to stay alive, I think, is nice. And frankly, if I'm playing against 2 units of 5 chosen against the big 10-man chosen block that's trying to get in and murder me, it's probably a little more of an interesting game, I think. I think MSU, more assets, smaller assets. The trading is a little more interesting. The scrumming is a little more interesting. What can 3 spite lancers do against 5 chosen, right? How are these matchups different when we're taking the small unreinforced versions. So I think it's a good thing. So far, I'm impressed with the terrain rules, but I will say they're less crazy impactful. They're less game breaking than I think content creators are letting on. And I will include ourselves in this, of course, please. And not that any content creator is going screaming and going crazy. We're a pretty chill crowd in AOS. Okay, KO. We've seen a couple games with KO. Saray has the army. Fast moving shooting, I feel like, is going to be fine. If you're fast moving shooting, you're cutting corners, you're getting to places, you're getting shots, you're going to have targets. Many armies have monsters still. Many armies have fly still. You have targets, right? We saw a game talking about, not talking about KO for a second. Our very first game with the new GHB a couple weeks back was Bone Reapers versus Ogres. Brad had targets for the new Ogre cannons. He shot Morgus Archai all game long. That's like a great target, right? Everything else he couldn't see because of where Steven was and where Brad had put the cannons. But Brad did that and he said, I don't care because I want to shoot Morgus Archai anyway, right? So shooting Morgus Archai all game long, like, not a big deal. Think about that OBR list. That's like Catacross, 4 Morgus Archai, and then some Death Riders and a little bit of more Tech Guard. Think about KO against that list. Think about punking Morgus Archai, like turn 1 and 2, just like wrecking them. Once they're gone, that's a slow army. That army, all its fly targets are gone. Yeah, your targets are going to start drying up a little bit as the player hides things and obscuring, and if and when they can. But like, you've just slowed the army down. They have Death Riders still, of course, who can be fast. But KO, the games we've seen, Saray has often been able to have a healthy target all game long. Even slow-moving shooting. Tomorrow, like I said, you'll see triple cannon again. Brett's also bringing 2 steam tanks tomorrow. That's medium speed shooting. Even that, you'll see he's going to have targets. Of course, that's a bad example because I'm bringing Nighthaunt. He's going to shoot my whole army all game long. We're fine with it. But the thing is, again, people have to clear terrain distances. And they have to move from point A to point B. And this is kind of one of the things we're going to get to next when we talk about places of power. So we'll wait a second before I go into that. But if you play KO, you're going to be fine. We also are seeing that we think KO are going to be good at battle tactics. The speed is good. The fact that you are often, the fact that your scouts are on the table and then kind of almost act like they're not, like with how you deploy. There's your Arcanaut squad, there's your Sky Wardens, and they're kind of on the table. And then the boat moves and they move with it, right? Like, it's almost like you're fast. But you're fast in this way that also brings the boat, does some move blocking, drops off guys and wherever you not wherever you want, but nearby. They're kind of good for battle tactics so far. So I think KO might be actually kind of scary in this edition. So keep an eye on that. If you play KO, don't put them on the shelf. Keep them out. I think they're going to be good. Big Ron, thanks. Member for 8 months. Lab Rat, I really love that you play lots of AOS. Great vids. Yes, we really love that we play lots of AOS. We're very lucky to get to do that. John, Meg, Saray, Brad, and I especially playing a lot of games. Graham, who's in chat. Graham, hi Graham. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The new GHB has been super fun. Big Ron, we appreciate the support. I'll further show and just remind people we always try to get membership goals here. Hit membership goals. If you have the means to donate a membership or 2 or 5, please do. If you don't have the means, don't do it. Don't feel bad about it. Enjoy the content anyway. When you have the means, we appreciate the support, as always. Places of power. This is what I want to talk about next. Here you go. Ready? Oh, wait. Yeah, is it place of power? Yeah, place of power. That's a place of power that we use here on the channel. Okay, this is a very good one. Places of power. First of all, let's talk about that. I'm going to pull up page 51, trusty page 51. Couple things. One, if you are, first of all, many of the battle plans have 4 places of power on them. Some of them have 2. but many of them have 4. If you want to activate a place of power with a hero, you can actually now only do it once per turn. So if you have a wizard or you're spread out all over and you're thinking, I'm going to pick up a deny here, I'm going to heal here, that you actually cannot do that. Start of any turn, pick a friendly hero within 3 of a place of power to use this ability, then pick that place of power to be the target. Pick one of the following. Let's go down to the bottom one. Tap the ley lines. For the rest of that turn, if that hero is not a wizard or priest, they can use the unbind or banish manifestation ability as if they had wizard 1. You don't roll for that, folks at home. You just get it. You don't get it on a 2-up or anything. You just get it. Wow, that's a big deal. And you could banish, again, banish with that. So you should, foot heroes that are not priests or wizards, or they don't have to be foot heroes, but any hero that's not a priest or wizard, kind of valuable. Like, that's a free banish. Like, well, amazing, right? Unbind is often a little trickier, right? But banish is 7 on 2 dice. Like, right? You got this. Like, it's amazing. Not being used, not being utilized. We haven't been utilizing it on the channel, quite frankly. Super amazing. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Droog, a degrading 7. If they have brought out multiples, right, you are now doing on a 6, on a 5. And that's just an ability your character just suddenly has randomly for free. You don't even need to roll 2-up for it. It just happens. Okay. Now, the other abilities are much more well understood because they're new and they're exciting, and we've been talking about them a lot. That's, by the way, an ongoing theme in this book, is anything that wasn't big and new and crazy, I feel like went under the radar a little bit. For example, all manifestations having a save of 6 now, all universal manifestations. Okay, the healing, by contrast, and the obscuring, turning something obscuring, happens on a 3-up. Okay, and again, you don't actually need to be a wizard or a priest hero to do this. Again, any hero can do this. They don't need to be a wizard or a priest. So let's talk about the cauterizing pollen, which is the healing, hurting one. On a 1, you hurt every unit within 6 of any place of power on the board. So I was showing you guys the one with 4 across the middle. That's just like a wave of 1 mortal damage all across the middle of the board. On a 2, nothing happens. They don't mention that, but process of elimination. And then on a 3-up, you heal 2 to each friendly unit wholly within 6 inches of the target. So to be clear, the healing is just localized. The damage is spread throughout the board. Very interesting. Now the final one, and this is the one that is maybe the most, the one that we thought would be kind of the most game-breaking, is rapid sprouting. Pick a Gyronite objective, or visible, that's an objective, or visible terrain feature within 12 inches of that hero, and roll dice. It is actually weirdly within 12 inches of the hero. It is not within 12 inches of the place of power. That's kind of a big deal if it's a large place of power. That terrain feature or objective has the obscuring ability now. Okay. So this is really interesting, and I can tell you we've used it a few times. I know for myself, what game? I think John and I were playing a game, a practice game for the Mandrills. Good reason to become a lab mandrill, by the way. We have been playing more practice games that we do just for those guys in our Discord channel. I think there was a game where I turned an objective right in my zone right away. I didn't have anything else to do. There's no consequence if you try this one. You just roll it on a 3-up. And I turned an objective obscuring, and I had like 20 Sisters of Slaughter in there. And I kind of deployed all 20 of them on there, thinking I could do that. Literally did nothing. But it could have, right? It could have. If John had had shooting, if he had had a spell that targeted me, something like that. I play against Megalot and Stupid Croak and his finger guns. If you can turn it obscuring, you can sit in it. You can be right in front of Croak, and he can't see you, right? He can't target you. So I'm not saying it's not powerful. What I am saying is, I would say, if you're thinking about if you're thinking about this as, again, a real death knell to shooting or to magic armies that want to do damage with magic like Croak, it comes up a little bit less than you think, is what I would say. You'd be surprised that it's not what, the deny is often better. And again, the deny just happens, right? So you kind of think about being a hero. You think about being a hero and, like, you can either just pick up a deny or an unbinding. Now, during your own turn, you might be more likely to do it. But again, if you think about healing, if you think about the potential to spread damage across the board, even hitting your opponent, it's a 1 in 6 chance. The obscuring thing is not happening as often as you might think. That's been our observation. The other thing I want to call out with this is we say, okay, well, I can change the objective to obscuring, which is strong, or another piece of terrain to obscuring. And we went through this in the book. Folks, every terrain piece already has obscuring almost. There's one type of terrain that doesn't have obscuring, and that is if you just put down something and call it an obstacle. Yeah, only obstacles don't have obscuring. But keep in mind, you're not going really on top of an obstacle anyway. They have the unstable keyword. We usually call obstacles, I don't know about you guys, but for us, we usually make obstacles like a single impassable thing, right? So it's not really offering that much obscuring, but it could for a foot hero maybe, or a small unit, like I can't remember who brought up, right? Because you could go and hug within 1 inch of, say you drop down like one of those Sigmar mausoleum. We have a ton of them. You just put one of those small ones down. Suddenly, 5 chosen can be within 1 inch of that and are obscured, right? So it does happen. It can happen, but most of the terrain already has obscuring anyway. Have you guys, folks at home, anyone who's been playing, has the place of power felt like a big deal to you or not? I've felt like it's not, frankly. We put a lot of them down, and they mostly just are obscuring terrain. That's like kind of how we think about them. So, yeah, hasn't been a big deal. Curious what people think, as always. Liam says, if I roll dice on obscuring terrain, do I have to tell my opponent the truth about what I rolled? This is actually covered. John brought this up earlier, Liam. I think this is actually covered in the player's code. We did not talk heavily about what's changed in the player's code, but I'm going to take a moment here for Liam, and I'm going to figure out in the player's code what addresses this. Page 3. Which one? Never deliberately waste time during a game. Maybe that one. Answer any questions your opponent has about your army. Well, that if he doesn't ask. Oh, never fix the outcome of a game. Actually, this violates many of the player's code, Liam. Boo, Liam. Okay. No, Dave. Each player gets to do a place of power. It's not first come, first serve. Okay. Ready for the next rant? I don't know what it is. I'm going into this one fresh. I've prepared for it for sure, but previously, what? Yeah. Let's talk about battle plans. Okay, battle plans. So right out of the gate, and specifically, I picked Nauseous Nexus for a reason. So Megan and I on stream on Saturday played this game last Saturday. We had a doubleheader. If you want to see Cruel Boys versus Beastclaw Raiders, check out that game. It's a really good game. You might think that matchup would go bad one way or the other, kind of quick. It didn't. It was a really good game. This battle plan is a really good battle plan. The general consensus with this battle plan was that it would be one that TOs would want to avoid. And I think the reason we came to that conclusion is that when you look at this battle plan right out of the gate, you look at this map, it looks like a narrative battle plan. This looks like something cooked up at narrative LVO by guys who maybe hopefully play tested it. And you look at this and you go, oh boy. It's like seeing you guys ever see the one that's the circle in the middle and that's you and then your opponent is on the outside? You're like, this isn't going to be fun for me. Looks sort of like that. But it's not really. What I'll say about this one is, one, The deployment, the actual area that you can deploy in is small. That's maybe its biggest problem. After that, it is actually quite a fun mission. It was a battle plan. It was quite a fun battle plan. It has a, let me pull it up here. My old man eyes cannot see that little text on the screen. And I want to pull this up because I want to talk about the one on the back of it, the life roots, in a second. Okay. Nauseous Nexus. It doesn't have that crazy of a underdog mechanic, and I want to talk about these underdog mechanics as well. Okay, you just roll you pick at the start of the battle round one of the objectives. If you pick the far one, the blue one, the Heartwood one that nobody starts on, you do D6 mortal damage to each target, friendly and enemy. If you pick each target, if you pick one of the other two, it's just D3 on a 2-up. So Azir brings up a good point. One of the other weird catches about this battle plan is that you can't control objectives round one. He says, this map has the problem of offering no relevant gameplay on turn one other than pinning your opponent. Every time I've played it, the sides either stood still on turn one or one side failed to pin. Yeah, but I would say that's not the best. Pinning is good, trying to pin your opponent in if you're an army that does that, a lot of cavalry, something like that. A lot of knights or Free-Guild Cavaliers are awesome at this. But quite frankly, this is like a scout paradise, right? Like, if you are taking scouting, which a lot of people are, this is a really good one for this. This is good for several battle tactics, turn one, depending on where you deploy, how fast you move, etc. So people, in a lot of cases, are going to be trying to score battle tactics turn one on this one. Pinning is good, doing damage to your opponent, but also racing out. And quite frankly, I would toss this out to Azir, to your point. That's fine, right? That happened when Meg and I played. Round one was like 15 minutes between the two of us. I think that's fine. I don't, like, if round one is largely forces kind of resetting up in other parts of the battlefield that were previously unavailable to them, i.e. unavailable to them while they were deploying, and they're kind of resizing each other up, reforming up, I think that's interesting. I don't think round one has to be crazy, battle play. The alternative is the norm, right? The norm is someone takes an objective, someone stages to defend who's taking the objective, whatever it is. And then at the bottom of the round, someone comes in. We maybe have our first fight. I don't think the variation is a problem. I think there's a lot of things you can still do in round one. The other weird part about this is whoever goes last, theoretically, gets a little bit of an advantage because whoever controls Heartwood at the end gets 10 extra points. Now, this used to be a big thing in 40K. I would say 9th edition. When I was a little more involved in Warhammer 40,000, there's this big problem that going second was super advantageous because you scored, and at the end of the game, you gave yourself this ability to just get a lot of points, and your opponent didn't have any play reaction ability to do anything with it. I don't think AOS is quite the same as that kind of MSU trading, that fast movement that was going on in 9th Ed 40K. You are really wanting to start fighting for Heartwood early, right? You want to get resources over to Heartwood, and you want to stage things around it. You want to block it if you can hold it, right? You absolutely want to. So why I like this also about, let's say if going second is an advantage, keep in mind that switches throughout the game in Sigmar because of the possibility of double turn. But also, big round saying, lots of people were saying going second has its advantages. In this edition, we're seeing going first is very powerful. It lets a lot of people just knock a battle tactic or two out of the way. That's where, if you look at our scores, we're seeing like 15, 20 point turns with whoever goes first. And then often the person who goes second battle round one is down a bit, down 5 or something. I think what I would say is Noxious Nexus. We look at it, we see a couple things going on, and we go, no thanks for a GT. I'd put this in a GT. I'd play this in a GT. I don't think this battle plan has any real problems for imbalance between armies. You could say to me something like, well, what if you're a slow-moving army? You're going to get the Heartwood? You're still going to get the Heartwood. It's not that far away, right? Like, yeah, don't deploy in the corner. But even if you do, it's 5 turns. You're going to get the Heartwood. Like, I just don't see a problem with this battle plan. We will be playing this battle plan on the channel in our kind of regular rotation. By contrast, and I didn't pull up the file here for it. By contrast, the Life Roots, which has actually one of my favorite deployment maps, territory maps. I think it's maybe one of the most simple battle plans. But one of the things that we, as content creators, under ranted about and under flipped out about and didn't put on our thumbnail with big glowing eyes and shit all over us and asking if this is the end of Sigmar, is these little things right here, the underdog bonuses. So someone's an underdog in this version, in this GHB, more often than they were in last GHB. So the scoring numbers are larger, and it's more uncommon to have a tie. So be prepared for that. These underdog bonuses are crazy. Some of them are crazy. And I think in almost every case where I see a battle plan, and I go, oh, I wouldn't do that on the stream very often unless I cultivated the matchup. Some of them are too intense. This is one of them, Life Roots. Ready? Here it is. Once per battle round, start of the battle round, the underdog can use the Life Begets Life ability. Pick a friendly unit that has all of its models within 1 inch of a terrain feature to be the target, i.e., a friendly unit that is trying to be obscured. Return 1 slain model to the target unit. Now, we played this mission. Steven and Saray played this mission last Saturday, and it was Slaves to Darkness versus Stormcast. Not bad. Think about a lot of other armies and how this matchup might go. Now, right in my mind, I'm thinking, what's a pathetic horde unit, right? Clan Rat, right? I get a Clan Rat back, you get a Chosen back. Well, kind of, but also, like, maybe you get a Rat Ogre back, right? Or maybe you get a Storm Fiend back. It's insane. But I do think there will be kind of winners and losers on this one. Nighthaunt, a little bit of a loser on this one. Nobody really cares about Nighthaunt not getting models back. They have plenty of other ways to get models back. You think about something like Soulblight. Again, they already get models back. Borrow Knight is good. Blood Knight's good. But otherwise, you're getting like a little 1 wound dipshit back. Bone Reapers, you could get a Mortek Guard back, but you could also get a Morgist Archive back, which is crazy. I'm looking at this one, and this is maybe one of the biggest ones where I'm expecting it to be reined in. That said, I'm kind of contradicting myself here because I'm saying, what faction is really not going to benefit? Fire Slayers, maybe? Fire Slayers, you're almost just getting a smelly little dwarf guy back. Daughters of Cain, I get a Witch Elf back. I mean, for me, I'm like, cool, one Witch Elf can do a lot. City's a loser. Yeah, maybe Tad, but... a Free Goat Cav is good these days. Like, it's sort of just, I don't know. It's sort of just like luck of the draw, but most armies will have something that can benefit from this a bit. If you know you're playing this battle plan, you've taken a loss in your Free Goat Cavaliers, you're playing Cities of Sigmar, and you're going, in the process of going from point A to point B, hug some terrain, and if you're the underdog, you're gonna get a Free Goat Cav back. It's not bad, but this is one that for me, as somebody who sets up streams for games for streams, wants the game to be fun for you guys to watch at home, and so doesn't want to give too much benefit to one army or another right away. This is one that we'll be thinking about. Meg and I were talking about this one, because we played our game right after them, I was playing Cruel Boys. Meg was playing Beastclaw Raiders with 2 units of Mournfangs, which, holy shit, Mournfangs in this edition, really good, by the way, in this book. And we were joking about that and just saying, yeah, I could get a Bolt Boy back and she could get a Mournfang rider back, which is crazy. So I don't know. I think this one is interesting. There's a couple others I want to talk about real quick in these battle plans. A lot of them are fine. Like a Bountiful Equinox, I think is a mission we're going to see get a lot of play. Super normal. All the underdog perk does is heal 3. It's kind of like a tamed version of Return to Model. I know the other one that I think is not going to get much play. It's the one John and I did on opening weekend. It's Paths of the Fae. Who's played this one at home? This, yep, that's it. Assisted Wrath, that's it. This is exactly, yeah. Real quick before we talk about this one, thank you, Jupiter, as always, for your support. Jupiter, wait, we're going to take a minute. Everybody. We got to keep the lights on. Jupiter, what am I changing? First of all, look at this. This is pathetic. I mean, not from Jupiter. I appreciate it. And again, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. If you don't have the means to donate, don't donate. Donate during a game. We do crazy stuff there too. Jupiter, what am I changing? I'm going to wait for it. Send it to me. You see what we got here. Actually, we can stay on the screen while we talk about this one. Yeah, Assistant Wrath. This is true. So the Paths of the Fae is super fun, but the teleport between 2 units, I think, is going to. I'm very worried that there's going to be, like, if I was running it, if I was a TO, I think about my dear friend Tom in SoCal running that crew down there. It's a great crew. I hardly ever see him need to do TO stuff. But this makes me think a TO is going to be busy, this one. Resetting back up the units. I almost wish Matt Rose had released a video showing how to do that. That one's going to be funky. Oh, Jupiter, okay. See where it says, help us reach our membership goal? You can either reset it. Same with you, Nick Garcia. Hi, Nick, also, by the way. And thank you, Nick. You can either reset this to say, help us reach our membership goal, or you can make it more insane and figure out one other thing to change anytime you donate a membership. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Nick, also. You set off the lights. We appreciate it. Okay, so, yeah, I was looking through these last night, thinking about which ones, like, as a channel, reset it. We're getting a reset. Which means, Nick, you've got a fresh canvas to work with here. Okay, so we're going to say, help us we don't have the canvas. This is in Germany. Also, it's not a noun. Never mind, Germans. Don't make fun of me. Membership goal. Exclamation point. I got it, Meg. Thank you, though. Okay, help us reach our membership goal. There it is. Nick, you got a fresh canvas. Anyone else wants to jump in? It can be just one gift of membership. We appreciate any support always. Anyone to help us. You saw what we had. Help us. Oh, my God. I already did it. Carson, good call. That's not right either. There it is. Okay. All right. Back to work. I'm going to leave that there. Nick, you think about how you want to change it. Okay. Yeah, I've been looking through these and I've been thinking which ones are we going to do on the channel and which ones we do on the helped us reach our membership goal. Okay, that's pretty safe. Right here. Like that. Is that a joke I don't get, like, from a video game or something? You guys know I don't play video games. Ship. Oh, I see what you want to do. I see what you're trying to do. Listen, you didn't specify, so I think I should leave it here. Like, helped us reach our membership goal. You want to change this one. Are we allowed to change this one, Meg? Can we do that? We can do that. Okay. Okay, Bountiful Equinox. I'm not going to go through all of them and tell you which ones I think we're going to play on stream and which ones I think are going to be used in GTs and RGTs. Life Roots makes me nervous, like I said, because of the imbalance that could happen. I know, right, Jupiter? But I think that most of these are good. There's a couple we haven't played on stream yet. We've doubled up. We've already started to feel bad. I'm reading what Nick said. Nick, you don't have to feel bad. That's fine. YouTube doesn't care about that, or Games Workshop. Okay. I don't think we've done Creeping Corruption yet, and I think we might be doing it tomorrow. I think Brad and I might be doing it tomorrow. I can't remember. Anyway, battle plans. Not bad. I think most of them are a little more chill than you think, or may have been led to think, not telling you what you think. I'm not telling you what you think. I'm actually here trying to tell you how to think. Remember, that's what the internet does. And I'm encouraging you to say, I think most of these are fine. The Paths of the Fae is a little weird, but it is fun. Play with your friends. Play with your friends in your garage. It's great. It still feels like match play. It's not stupid. It's not like, oh no, one, that unit is gone, right? Like, the units are still there. It introduces, if anything, I would say, it introduces like a little mini game where you're alternating and like placing things. And what John and I kind of found is that what it tends to do is gets units that are in trouble, like that are getting beat in a combat, are going to get wiped next turn. It kind of gets them like out of dodge. It kind of like helps you save them. Also, when John and I were playing it, John, if you're still here, did we play a practice game with it first, or was that maybe Meg and I played a practice game with it? I can't remember. I played it twice. In both circumstances, what happened? Yes, Azir, you're correct. It's interesting for doubles, for double turning. Oh, you're saying doubles. You're actually saying doubles. Like, yeah, it's also interesting for double turning though, because you can kind of like reset your guys up. You won't be the underdog though, so you won't be the one doing it. Sorry. So what we found when we played in general though, this is sort of why it's interesting for double turning, is that most people used it to like reset. Like, we weren't seeing, oh, I was in this really good combat that I was enjoying, that I was going to win, and I want to stay in that combat, because you can't. So what most people were kind of doing is saying, in other words, it incentivizes de-escalation, basically, when you do the teleport. Kind of everybody is like the one time John and I did it, he took one of the objectives. We both had like 2 units on both objectives. He took one and I just took the other. And it was on opposite sides of the boards. So these like 4 units that were like in combat or near combat with each other just all stopped being in combat and were just on it became very peaceful, just like on opposite sides of the board. 4 players kind of doubles. Why? I'm curious. Why is it amazing when I'm doing that? That's kind of just a lot of models. Like, what specifically? Okay, assistant ref. The problem is not being able to move the first turn. If the underdog goes second, they can stop the other player from being able to move with a lot of their units, and it just feels bad. Tell me what you're referencing specifically there, assistant ref. Yeah, I think most of these seem okay. I think when you guys go through these, I'm super excited to hear what people think. Like I said, we've been kind of trying to knock them all out on the channel. But we got through, I want to say like 9 of them, and then we hit this opportunity to play another one. And so we kind of lost the straight direction to the end from 1 to 12. And now there's a couple where we're like, I'm waiting for the right matchup for it. A really fun one, my favorite, I'll tell you my standout, is Cyclic Shifts. This one's super cool. The underdog, this one keeps games very tight. The underdog perk is crazy, but not like game breaking. Ready? It's really simple. First of all, the battle plan itself, pretty simple. Nice open neutral terrain. These battle plans, you see the one on the back has the neutral terrain too. It's actually the same deployment. That one is Roiling Roots. These battle plans have a lot of neutral terrain for the most part, and it lines up with the battle tactics. There are a few. Here's 3 of them. Bountiful Equinox, which I think otherwise is a good mission. Life Cycle. Life Cycle actually is neutral terrain. Creeping Corruption and Grasp of Thorns. This card right here, I think these 2 might be problematic. What I was saying though is there's a lot of neutral terrain. and the battle tactics want the neutral terrain. So the ones that don't have neutral terrain are going to be actually kind of tough. And I think Grasping Roots holds bottles on an objective. This one I think is nasty. I think this one might be a problem. That said, like, I think Cyclic Shifts is one of my standouts. Lots of neutral terrain, real simple underdog mechanic. You pick a pair of objectives. We're going to talk about that in 1 second. Pick a pair of objectives, and they cannot be controlled. So I'm really into the pair mechanic. Some of these have the score is you score 2 or 3 if you control a pair. Cyclic Shifts doesn't have that. It's 5 for 1, 3 for 2, 2 for more than your opponent. But the pair thing is the underdog perk. And then it has to be the 2 green ones, gnarl root, we call those, or the 2 red ones, which are on the edges here, oaken brow, these 2 right here. So you can't do heartwood and winterleaf, but it shuts them down, right? So it's been exciting. The pair mechanic is kind of cool. Personally, I'm kind of into it. Battle plans, thoughts on battle plans. Tell me how I'm wrong. I'm moving on. Next thing. Wait, am I waiting? No, we got it. We got the reset and now membership goal. Okay. Here we go. We have some coffee. This is a good one. Okay. Just today, or last night, randomly, I don't know why she brought this up. Megan was like, I hate how auto attack gives me -1 to my save. She's like, it already costs a CP. Why does it do something bad now also to me? Fair point. I know a lot of us are feeling that way. I want to come at this conversation with a little bit of clarity. I've been playing 4 armies since this new book. I'll say my 4 armies, mostly 3. My 3 main armies, right? If you follow the channel, you know, are Daughters of Cain, Deepkin, and Nighthaunt. But I also have been playing my friend Andrew's Cruel Boys. We're hoping to get Andrew back on the channel soon so he can play them as well, or instead of me. I don't know if that... Nighthaunt, of course, just out of the picture here. Don't even think about Nighthaunt for this one. Nighthaunt only meant... This is amazing for Nighthaunt, right? We can't alt defense anyway. Don't care. Alt attack, it doesn't mess with our save because our save can't be changed. So, like, this one is fine for Nighthaunt. But that's... Nighthaunt and KO are like... I've talked about this on the channel before. Nighthaunt and KO are the 2 armies that are here. The third one maybe being Tzeentch, we've mentioned. There are some armies that just are here to, like, break all the rules and just add this, like, element of insanity into the game. Gargant's a little bit as well. The game needs that. It can suck sometimes on an individual level playing against them when you feel like your rules don't work or something. But we haven't seen like a decade of Nighthaunt superiority or KO superiority, or so clearly it's not the end of the world. Okay, so alt attack and alt defense. What I have noticed with alt attack and alt defense is, first of all, somehow in this new edition, in this new GHB, not edition, but this new GHB, we have been burning through command points even faster than before. Like, it is often the case, and like if I'm producing a game, I'm keeping track of the command points, so it's at the forefront of my mind. And I've been noticing that we are often going into the bottom of a round with both players having 1 CP left, or the player who wasn't the active player has used all 4 or 5 of their CP during their opponent's turn. Like, it's just gone. So I don't know exactly how Matt Rose made that work, but what I will say is the goal was to use alt attack and alt defense less. It seems to be working. I think the new version, one thing I'm seeing get used way more in our games, at least, and maybe as a studio we weren't using power through enough last GHB. Power through is very popular now. People are taking their redeploys, movement-centric ones, have become really very powerful. I would say my observation has been that with alt attack, you're often going one-on-one. What alt attack now has become, it's very interesting, is it's become this really hardcore. You're totally right, Ref. Like nobody was using power throw enough. It's become this really hardcore. The best defense is a good offense. That's what alt attack now is. It feels a little more desperate. You take you send I don't know four left of 6 crypt horrors into something. You're hitting on 4s, and you're like, if I don't wipe this unit, if I don't wipe these witch elves, even if there's like 6 left, I'm referencing matches I'm familiar with, you can tell, but they're gonna turn around. They could pick up the 4. These 6 witch elves could potentially pick up 3 or maybe 4 or 2 of my horrors. So like I really need to screw my armor save. I'm gonna not have one. I really need to do the thing. People have been using it. I feel like that's sort of what it's become. It's yes, that too. Avoiding multi-charges, always a good idea. Frankly, until you absolutely have to do it. Avoiding multi-charges or sticking with odd numbers, 1 or 3, right? Always a good strategy, and people are thinking about that a little bit more for sure. So that's kind of what I've noticed about alt attack. Alt defense, I don't, kind of the same thing. Like if you think about all the fights you're in, people are squaring up more. Chosen versus annihilators, right? Reinforced. It's like that's the fight. I'm not also going to necessarily throw in 5 Chaos Knights. Like they're off doing something else. So often a battle tactic. So there seems to be more squaring up, and then your alt defense works just fine. Where alt defense is, where I do think content creators, people who got the book early, people who start hearing the news early and observed correctly and wisely, is that with alt defense in the shooting phase, it can be it's beneficial to shooting armies, which is probably good, right? We said they're going to need something potentially. I think there are some armies that I think alt defense is if a triple cannon cities army, KO again. It's going to feel a little bit bad when you're being shot by an ironclad and then 2 frigates and gunstrucks, the infantry guys with all the crazy guns, and you're picking 1. We've seen this already happen. It does suck. So it's a boon to shooting more than anything. But as far as fighting goes, I don't know. We're also seeing a lot more abilities popping up that give +1 to hit, -1 to, +1 to hit, +1 to save. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Hasn't been as big of a deal as I think we were all freaking out about yet. Meg has piloted Croak on the channel more than once. She'll be on again kind of soon, actually. I think it's a Tzeentch versus Croak battle coming up kind of soon. Battle tactics, last one. This is a big one. Okay, so battle tactics. The general wisdom is that scouting force is the clear winner here. I'm going to go back to here. Scouting force, the clear winner. I don't think I dispute that. John, I know, is in chat. John is an advocate of scouting force. Here's the problem with scouting force. It's real simple. You're either going to do it or you're not. It sounds stupid, right? But when I say that, what I mean is, you need to look at your army, and one of the first things that happens every time someone looks at this is they're a little confused about what can and can't do it. So number of aggressive stipulations. So your little foot hero can't do it. No heroes can do it. Infantry or cavalry only. No beasts. That's important. Beasts are a great type of unit. Speaking of Tzeentch, tossing 3 screamers into something, and just saying, cool, they're going to go do battle tactics. They're not going to do scouting force. They have to be on the board, right? So any kind of cute tricks you want to do with Stormcast Eternals, putting half your army up in the sky, Chosen Bomb from Gaunt Summoner, jump into your opponent's territory with this infantry unit, start causing havoc, fulfill all of these. You can't. So Scouting Force has a lot of stipulations. Now, when you build Scouting Force, when you build a list, you're going to... I don't know if we're at the stage yet in this edition where people are aggressively building towards particular battle tactics. I'm sure people are. I'm sure ultra competitive players are already thinking like that. And I don't know if that's going to be the right way to think or not. But when you're building your list, what I have found, and this happened a little bit in John's game last night, although Sylvaneth, he used 2 of the Beetle units to score 3, to score the 3, which is the second one. The second one's the hardest in Scout, by a long shot. Because one unit can hold a terrain piece and an objective, and then the third one was just holding an objective. So you can do it with 2 units, technically, we think. It does not say you need to use 3 units. It says you need to control 3 or more objectives / terrain features in your opponent's territory. This is the hardest one. It's the second one. Scout, I think, is popular for the following reason. The first one is super easy to do in most battle plans, but not all battle plans. Some battle plans are really going to mess with Scout. And to that end, like I was saying earlier, I hope to see Bountiful Equinox, like in GTs and RTTs, because it's a pretty straightforward battle plan. It's not hard. It's not weird. It's not unbalanced, but it really breaks Scout down. Breaks Scout, like makes Scout more challenging. At least the first stage of Scout. There's a case to be made makes the other stages a little easier. I think Scouting's good. I think the problem I've been running into, I was starting to say, is depending on your build, you may find that you just run out of Scouting units. Like, how many armies out there have really cheap cavalry that they can take, are really awesome for a fair price? Again, for Daughters, Doomfire Warlocks have been amazing for this. They're not cheap, but they're very useful. Fell Riders for Slaves of Darkness, if you're taking some Dark Oath, I think Fell Riders are interesting for this. But infantry are not often fast enough. They may be cheap enough, but they're not fast enough. And quite frankly, they can just get picked up in a lot of cases. So, yeah, Doomfire Warlocks are really good, always. Yeah, it's very true. in this version of the game, this book, they're like even better because of Scout. Daughters are great at Scout. It's a horde of infantry, and then 3 cavalry units, and then maybe 1 war machine. It's perfect. Yeah, more Big Knights Saw are good. Like, a lot of cavalry are good at this, right? But the problem is, they can't be in combat to score this. So, how many of your more Big Knights are... How much of your army can you devote to not fighting for a round or 2, right? And that's like not... I'm not saying that that's not acceptable. You can win games and have units not fighting, of course. Like, that's often the right choice to make. But Scouting does make you think about this. And if your opponent... it forces you, I think, a little more in MSU. And what we have found is Flesh Eater Courts are good at this, right? John has known because of the recursion. But if you're taking when you take MSU against some, like, I'm thinking, cool, MSU against 20 Dreadscythe Harridans. There's nothing in MSU format that 20 Dreadscythe Harridans are afraid of. Like, I'm going to go into anything with that, right? If I shoot you with crossbows, I put the damage point on you, 5 chosen, 3 eels, 10, I don't know, what's like a nasty infantry unit? Witch elves, right? 10 sentinels, 10 wardens. Like, there's nothing I'm afraid of. So you become not much of a threat for your opponent. I think Scout's interesting. I think it's actually going to be really metaforming. But I don't know that it's like the end-all, be-all, awesome one. That said, you pick 2. I think it's always going to be up there for one of them, for most armies. Okay, the other one that falls in this concept of one we're thinking about, this is one I've been taking with a lot of my armies, is Intercept and Recover. Here at the Hobby Club, we call this one the Hunt for Saddam's Gold. So your opponent's picking, this is the one where your opponent picks 3 places to put treasure. You're hunting for this treasure. Of course, there's the obvious thing about if you double turn, they get to drop 1. Let's talk double turn here in a second, because I did bring it up and say I want to mention I don't have a slide for it. Like here, like when we go here, I won't have a slide that says double turn. So beware. Okay, so Hunt for Saddam's Gold, I think it's pretty good. Again, you are going to be asking yourself, what does your army want to do? Are you an army that can kill? And keep in mind, if your opponent is doing things, people are learning. You're putting Saddam's Gold on units like, I'll give you a great example of a unit to put Saddam's Gold on. The the Cruel Boy, the guy ran boss on Gnash Tooth. That guy can disappear off of a board edge and come back on another board edge all game long. You're never going to catch that guy. Gore Warden, also amazing. John and I played a practice game on Tuesday. I got the Saddam's Gold off Ushuran. I got the Saddam's Gold. Was I playing Witch Elves, John? Yeah, I was playing Daughters. I got the Saddam. No, I was playing Nighthaunt. I got Saddam's Gold from Ushuran and from the King on the Royal Terrorgeist because he has to fight with them, right? And the fights went my way. Gore Warden, it was like, I'm never going to catch this. I'm never going to catch this guy. So if you have if you go up against something like that, it's amazing, right? Like it's amazing to have your opponent have it because they're only going to get 10 points. Otherwise, I think this one is interesting. These 2 right here, in my opinion, Scouting Force and Intercept and Recover, I can tell you right now, I've been saying, and it's not like I'm smart about this. You can just look and tell. Daughters of Cain are going to be a menace for a little while. They might get some points changes. We'll see. They're going to be a menace. They work very well with these 2. Like, that's kind of the problem that makes them an extra menace, is that the army can just roll through like a tide, and they'll get your little foot hero trying to hide with Saddam's Gold, or they'll hit your, put it on Rodigus. We just saw Witch Elves pick up Rodigus last week. Like they'll get the gold, and they'll get scouting too because there's a lot of them, and they tend to kill. I was going into combat with things with units I intended to score scouting with because I know my output's going to kill the thing, right? And you check at the end. So these two are, I think, the 2 to beat for most people. The other 4 are just complex. And the problem with the other 4, John and I were talking about this, is that they have these kind of, like scouting, the first one's very easy. The second one's kind of tough. But if you've done the first one, you're already on the way to the second one. And then the third one is weirdly very easy on Scouting Force. It's like, once you've done the first 2, the third one is like almost guaranteed to happen. So they're sort of ebb and flow on how easy they are and what slot like you have to do. So what I mean by that here, I'll give you this one, Master the Paths. This is an interesting one. The second and the third one are theoretically kind of easy. More friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units. That's not hard to set up. If your opponent has MSU, okay, it makes it a little harder until you remember, well, they're MSU. You can just kill things, right? So MSU, that's like the trade-off with it. So, okay, yeah, you have more, but I'm pretty sure I can just kill a bunch of your units and get this. The thing that makes this one tough is the second thing, is if there's no neutral territory, where in the battle plan, you have to have no enemy units within friendly territory. That one is scary. So I concede that. But then the third one is 3 different enemy units wholly within 9 inches of a different corner of the battlefield, and only one of those corners is wholly within friendly territory. No more than one of those units have been set up this turn. That sounds crazy, but again, you either have the army for it or you don't. If you have Fell Riders, if you have Doomfire Warlocks, this is not hard. Like, if you have fast cavalry that aren't really wanting to pursue Raptidons, this is not bad, right? Only one unit can be set up. 3 corners. 1 can be friendly territory. You might have somebody back there anyway. 1 can be set up with a teleport. you really just need to get to one more corner. I think this one is getting more hate than it deserves. It's not hard. Now, the first thing, kill an enemy hero. This is the problem with this one. When you see the second two, you're kind of like, yeah, they're not hard, but I need to start on them early. You don't want to be trying to do these turn 4 and 5. That's the problem with this one, is that it has this hump early on, which is kill an enemy hero. Now, you really need to have that hero destroyed by round 2, which means you need your opponent to have something that they're throwing into you that's a big scary hero that they're trying to do a lot of damage with, or some kind of weird little missile hero. I'm not even sure what that is right now. So this one is kind of interesting. That's the problem here. And then the other three, so Restless Energy we've been taking, I think this one's pretty good. This is a good example of one where you're doing things you need to do anyway. Take an objective your opponent had at the start of the turn. Like, you're going to do that during the course of the game. If you never do that during the course of the game, you will lose the game, right? The next one is control every objective within enemy territory. If there are no objectives in enemy territory, I don't think any of the battle plans even have that. You complete this battle. No, a few of them do. Sorry, the Dawn of War ones. You complete this battle tactic if you control every objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your turn. Again, if you're getting to these early, that might be one objective. It's not that terrifying. Okay, then the last one, again, sounds terrifying. Control every objective on the battlefield. 6 objective missions, maybe. But I think that's going to be the norm, is that, people are already saying, it's going to be unusual that you score 30 points here. You're going to be, 20 is like good if you're going for 20. We think. Theoretical, purely theoretical. Attune to Gyran, Wrathful Cycles. I don't think, as we're learning the game, I don't think any of these are bad anymore. I just think they're not as obvious. There's one that I have not done yet. It's actually these two. So I'll tell you my least favorite two. It's these two. Wrathful Cycles. I don't like having to be the underdog. I don't know if that's going to happen. Right? Do you want to set that up? Like, to be the underdog, you're losing, right? Do you want to set up that you're losing? When are you comfortable setting that up? Round 2? Okay. Round 4? I don't think so, right? Like, this one is... I don't like this one. However, it's first, check mark. That's its strike. It's a fray. More objectives than your opponent. Again, you're going to do that anyway. This is like 5 for me. I'm scared. I'm nervous about the second one, being the underdog. The last one I'm not the biggest fan of is Attune to Gyran. I don't like this fall back 2 places, charge 2 places. And I don't like being in the center of the board. None of my armies want to be in the center of the board. Most of my armies, Night Haunt, maybe you're okay. But I don't want to be in the center of the board with elf armies. We're too fragile. And then I don't want to fall back and charge 2 places. I've seen this one stump folks at the studio. I haven't taken it yet, but I've played against it, and they're like, where am I falling back? Or, oh, I killed that unit. Well, now I can't fall back, right? Like, during your turn, I didn't think I would do that much damage, but I did, and now you're dead, and now I don't have a retreat target anymore. They put too much out of your hands, Wrathful Cycles and Attune to Gyran, for my liking. Okay. Here we go, ready? Like I said, there's no double turn slide. It just goes back to the pendulum. What's the best graphic for a double turn? Probably the pendulum. Let's stick with the pendulum. Okay. The final thing I'll say, let's talk about double turns. Folks at home, I'm curious what your experience with them has been. We have found that they are super interesting. They've totally changed from being a thing we're all kind of holding on with bated breath to happen. They've changed from that, for me, to like a really interesting tool. We've seen it happen a couple times. Actually, quite a few times. We've seen at least one game with a double-double. That's 2 doubles. For folks keeping track at home. In Saturday's game, Meg beat me. Spoiler: the BCR beat the Cruel Boys because Meg forced me into a double turn from 1 to 2, and then later took a double turn when it she just controlled priority and did a good job with it. So like you are, I'm finding it to be like a very interesting tool. Last night, oh, and this is the other thing it's done. John and Brad did this last night. More than once, it ends the game. Like you get to turn 4 or 5, and we roll it, and we're like, cool, game over. That kind of happened in Steven and Saray's game last Saturday. They both had some really big screw ups. Excuse me, folks. And then after both their screw ups, Steven double turned Saray and was kind of like, oh, that's it, right? So depending on what unfolds, it's either a very interesting tool or it's like game ending. So I guess in conclusion, its total outcome is not different than what it used to be. But it does feel different. It does feel different. We're seeing it taken less. There's been a lot of games. I played a bunch of games with John. I played a game with Graham, and this happened in those games where we got to turn 4 or 5. We knew who had priority, or we knew the turn order. And, I'm picking the dice. And, if I win this row, I can double turn. But there's no way I'm going to do it. The games are way too tight. The scoring is way too tight because he has that one objective worth 5 points. That's the easiest way to get to keep the score tight, right? Is just hold one objective. If you can't hold one objective, you've almost certainly lost the game anyway, right? So because the scores are kind of kept very tight, it feels like different. I don't know. It's fun. I like it. This is the healthiest double turn mechanic I've seen since I started playing, which is the beginning of 3rd edition. I don't know what folks at home think, but that's kind of it. That's it. That's all the things we got wrong. How do we do? What did I get wrong about what we got wrong? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know right now in chat. We do have a list review before we head out. This was sent in to us by Appleberry in our Discord. Now, if you are a member of the Hobby Club, that means you're maybe a lab rat or a lab mandrill. If you're a lab rat, that's our lowest tier membership, $4 a month. You can submit lists, and we'll look at them and we'll talk about them. We'll try to get them in the hands of a person who knows what they're doing, because that way you feel like you got your dollar's worth. If you're a lab mandrill, you can submit lists, and we'll actually sometimes play them on stream. We have like a catalog of all the models we have for all the armies we have. We have almost all the armies, and we've played lab mandrill lists a few times now on stream. Jason, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Jason, what am I changing here? Right now it says help us reach our membership goal. Nick went for low-hanging fruit. What should I change here in the text? This is what happens, Jason. I don't know if you've donated a membership during the show before. You get to change any one thing about help us reach our membership goal. I'll spell something different. We've had symbols put in weirdly. I can't just do that normally easily. We've snuck a 69 in here. We've spelled words wrong. Whatever you want. You think on it for a second, and we're going to get to this list. Excuse me. Okay, Appleberry's list. Let's take a look. There's a Nighthaunt list. Okay, and he's got some notes. And that's all part of the fun. You get to leave notes. You get to say why. What are you thinking? What went through your head? Let's talk about it. It's a little bit like therapy from an unlicensed therapist. Okay, Nighthaunt list, Deathstalkers is the sub-faction. I'm going to say right out of the gate, Appleberry, I'm not the biggest Deathstalkers fan, and I'll talk about why. Okay. I like the manifestation lore. I like the Nighthaunt endless spells manifestations. Let me rephrase that. I love the Nighthaunt manifestations. They're all amazing. you think the hourglass is stupid, and it is for the most part, but it's not bad in Deathstalkers with run and charge. You fire that, you shoot that thing off, you give a unit +1 to charge turn 1. Maybe you can pick off an enemy, a scout, something that's trying to get up and do something real quick. Or a screen, get going on a screen with a unit of yours you're willing to get rid of. I like it. But it is the worst one. The box is amazing. God, the box is almost broken. I can't believe we are getting away with the box. It is the Malevolent Maelstrom, for all of us who remember that one, but only enemy units, and it doesn't move like the Maelstrom. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty critical, right? Not really. You get in like a big fight in the middle of the board with something that you know you're going to be there a little bit for. Like, oh, I know these Blade Guide Revenants are going to be fighting these Putrid Blight Kings now for the next turn and a half, a round and a half, next 3 turns. You put this box down, and this thing goes off immediately. Like, it almost always, because you're a Night Haunt, and you have a lot of 1-wound models, you'll fill up the box. And then, like, just out of nowhere, it's like little foot character, Slappity Bottle Piper, D6 mortal damage. Putrid Blightlings, D6 mortal damage. Plague Bearers, D6 mortal damage. It's amazing. This is amazing lore. Okay. Deathstalkers. Let me talk about why I don't love Deathstalkers. I'm okay with Deathstalkers, but I want to point out that the fallback and charge for a Night Haunt is okay. Keep in mind that this army can just charge anyway when they're in combat. Which means they can get the movement, they can kind of refigure themselves, they can get to a more advantageous situation for themselves. The run in charge. The run in charge is good because we move 8. That's 14 with an auto run and then a charge. I like it. I think what you want to do, when Deathstalkers first came out, Night Haunt fans and Appleberry, it was the obvious choice. When your whole army could do it, it was insane. Now it's 1 unit. I urge you to consider a few different options. The big one, I think, that people are sleeping on is Vanishing Phantasms. Lots of armies have a teleport subfaction. Night Haunt are the only army that has a teleport subfaction that just says pick a unit and teleport it. Deepkin, it's got to be infantry or cavalry. They need to be near a piece of terrain, and you don't roll, but you've got to set it up. That one's good. Daughters, you roll. It's got to be a 3-up. If you don't get it, you sit. Then you just don't get it, right? Also, Stormcast, it's got to be Vanguard, Raptor, Vanguard unit only, right? Like, there's so many stipulations. Night Haunt is just free. So yeah, that. Now, it's Baffle. You're right. Phantasms is amazing. I'm talking about that. And the new coach one. Now, the new coach one obviously wouldn't be good here because he doesn't have any black coaches. Oh, no, he does. Yeah, even that. Even with 1 black coach, I still like the black coach one. Conceivably, Appleberry more. But here's the thing, Appleberry. I think you just try them out. That's the easiest thing to change in your list. Just change your subfaction. The one I will say I'm unimpressed by is the new one from Gyran, where you have to be in an ongoing combat, and then you -1 from save. It's theoretically nasty, but it puts everything in the position for your opponent to play around it. Your opponent on their turn can go, you know what? I don't like that. I'm going to leave. And maybe that's good for you. Maybe you're like, cool, yeah, I'll take that. That means... the best defense is 0 attacks against this unit, right? But I haven't really tried it in a couple games. Maybe I haven't given enough test cases. I haven't been able to get it to really pop off for me. Like, I haven't been able to really put my opponent in and be like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Like, oh, -1 to save. Like, haven't quite had that happen. Phantasms, I think the problem with Night Haunt, and this is a good thing and a bad thing, is that if the army had no subfaction rule, you almost wouldn't even notice, right? Like, that's not the case with Cruel Boys, or that's not the case with Cities of Sigmar. Like, if you don't have a subfaction ability for Cities of Sigmar, you're like, what does my army do, right? What's my fun army rule? Night Haunt, you wouldn't even think that. You'd be like, okay, well, like when it says you may choose one of these battle formations, I mean, of course you're going to choose one, but I'm almost like, okay, you know, I can play without it. That's fine. They kind of do that to Stormcast too, but I think Stormcast actually desperately want one. So I'd play around with that, Appleberry. I'm not sure Deathstalkers is the best option here. I personally like Phantasms a lot, and even with one Black Coach, I like Procession of Death. Okay, let's take a look. Lady O, kind of a must. Lady O, she's amazing. Boy, I don't know what it is, but my Lady O cannot cast spells. 2s, 4s, 5s, no pluses. I hate it. But she's amazing. No Rest for the Wicked is incredible. Keeping her alive and safe she's pretty easy to keep alive. Amazing. Yeah, gotta take Lady O. Unfortunately, I think she's about as mandatory as Usharan is for Flesh Eater Courts. Bladegeist Revenants, no problem, of course. Yeah, you need a slappity slap hammer in the form of infantry. I will say this. I've been taking, and tomorrow I'm taking 40 Dreadscythe Harridans and 2 Black Coaches. The Black Coach is great, and it can be super nasty. Its output is not as good as Dreadscythe Harridans, hitting on, wounding on 3s, or Bladegeist Revenants. Your quote-unquote elite Nighthaunt infantry, i.e. Blade, in my opinion, that means specifically Bladegeist and Dreadscythes. The output is, the Black Coach is not is reliable, I'll say. Even the Scourge of Gyran one. Scriptor Mortis. Okay, he's got a note here, folks. He says, the Scriptor Mortis is my guy, my dude, my little rascal, and I'm going to give him a try as my relic carrier with the hope that the Amulet of Waking Shadows will combo well, though I wish I had the points to also give the Lord of Spectral Hosts. Lord of Spectral Hosts is what lets you bring a unit of 10. He could bring back his 10 Bladegeist Revenants for 1 CP once per game after they get... Is that it? No, that's Lord of the Underworlds or something, right? Is that... No. Is that... I think that's what that is. Yeah, okay, so listen, I like this. He set a stipulation. He said, hey, Zach, I'm taking a Scriptor Mortis. Don't tell me not to take a Scriptor Mortis. Of course, in reality, I'm going to tell you not to take a Scriptor Mortis right now. But man, they're cheap. God, they've gone so cheap. I don't need to talk to you, Appleberry, or anyone who's a Nighthaunt fan about why the Scriptor Mortis isn't quite cutting it right now. I think the book will get redone sometime in the next... It's on the roadmap. It's like, we know it's coming like not too long. We might see a rework for him. Okay, now he has Spirit Host, which I hate even more because now you're investing even more into your Scriptor Mortis. So, okay, but yes, you love this little guy, so I get it. Okay. Now you're doing something I love. This is a trick that I like. I don't always do this trick. I won't do this trick tomorrow, but it's a fun way to play to change up what I do. Tomorrow I'm doing what I like to call double death ball. It's Harridan's Coach, Craven Throne Guard, with them. So it's like, those are the death balls. Craven Throne Guard, Harridan's Coach. You got 2 of them. Lady O hangs out with 1. A Guardian of Souls hangs out with the other. And then for good measure, there's 10 Chain Rasps that I think are just going to kind of like bodyguard, more or less. Quote unquote bodyguard the Guardian of Souls. Another way, though, I like to play is this. Alarok the Drowner with a unit of Reinforced Craven Throne Guard. This is super nasty. Now, you're already doing this stuff where you're trying to snipe and damage heroes, which makes me also think, and I think I mentioned this to you already, you might want to change your battle formation to the anti-hero one. I forget what it's called. It's not bad. None of us take it, but it's actually not bad. It's the one that is styled off of the Emerald Host. I'm pulling it up right now. Faction Pack Nighthaunt, Battle Formations, Hunters of the Accursed. Pick up to 3 enemy heroes, each within 12 inches. This is end of any turn. Of a different friendly Nighthaunt hero to be the target. And on D3, do that much more damage to them. I mean, keep in mind, the problem with this in your list is that... no, this is a great one for you, dude. That's what you should switch to. Yeah, if you're trying to snipe and put the heat on heroes, I would try that instead of Deathstalkers. Lady O is virtually invulnerable, right? Like, most players will not look at Lady O and go, I got to take her out. I lost her, well, I don't know, a month ago to some Croxagores that got like a 10-inch charge. They had no one else to deal with. She rolled, Meg rolled, got it, and like 6 Croxagores beat Lady O into oblivion. If you're dealing with Croak and Croxagores, she's in trouble, right? But other than that, like, I mean, I don't know that a Gargant's player wants to send a Gargant into Lady O. Especially if she has -1 to wound up on her or something like that. 4 up unrendable, 4 up ward, even with 7 health, you gotta get a lot through to take her out. That means you can be aggressive with her, Appleberry, and that means she'll always be within 12 of an enemy hero. You fly her, you don't even worry about the shooting attack, although the shooting attack is also awesome against enemy heroes. -1 to hit, cool. You hit on 3, wound on 2, d6, Ren 3. You have the potential to really snipe heroes here, but I would double down on it and go Hunters of the Accursed personally. And by the way, Auroch is also amazing at this. Amazing, because he can just teleport. He can teleport outside of 9, and then target a unit within 12 later. Yeah, he's great. Snipe heroes, yes, fun. I like the Craven Thorn Auroch combo. They go well with him, but also don't forget you can drop Bladegeist Revenant 7 inches out of an opponent. Dreadblade Horrors, I don't know what you need them. This is maybe what I would not take. Now, we'll come back to them in a second. You have a second mini hammer. Grimghast Reapers I consider a mini hammer for Nighthaunt. They're especially good against infantry, of which there's a lot of out there these days, so they're pretty good. You mentioned here that you're looking for Harridans, but they're sold out. Yeah, I'm a big part of that. I bought a lot of Harridans over the past few years. I have 60 fully painted that I use. I have like 40 more here. And I kind of keep them just so other people can have Harridans. It's kind of like a thing I'm doing. It's not my finest. It's not the nicest thing I've done. But I'm just kidding. That's not why I'm doing them. I actually don't need them. I probably should get rid of some of them. Maybe a Wool Chat Appleberry. But you're right. They're crazy hard to find. I don't know that you need Dreadblade Horrors in your list. I don't know though. I haven't used them in the new book. They are cavalry that can claim objectives. Scout. You took, by the way, you took a Scouting Force. Yeah, you're good at Scouting Force. You have plenty of scouts. And Master of the Paths. I don't like Master of the Paths, but the first thing in Master of the Paths is kill an enemy hero. So that's like what you want to be doing. So I think you're on the right track. Yeah, I think these are great for you. Good battle tactics. Good battle tactic cards. I like your list. My 2 big things are I would change your battle formation, frankly, to Hunters of the Accursed or Phantasm. And especially if you change to Vanishing Phantasms, then you absolutely do not need the Dreadblade Horrors. But I don't know how many points you have left over. Is this 2000 on the dot? 1990. You'd have 180 points. I don't know what you get with 180 points. Not that you can't get things with 180 points. I'm just not sure what you would get. But I would look for that. You know what you could get for 180 points? That's super fun. You could get a reinforced unit of Glavewrath Stalkers. And if you have Vanishing Phantasms, they're super fun. You can teleport and do a 6-inch charge against whoever you pick to be your target. That could be another hero. That could be fun. If you have 8 Glavewraith Stalkers, that could be fun. Overall, the Dreadblade Horrors are probably better. But the problem with 8 Glavewraith Stalkers is, let's say you teleport them, they get a 6-inch charge, they do their thing. For the most part, your opponent's not going to do much to them afterwards. Liam, I want to respect Appleberry's desire to have a safely protected Scriptor Mortis. It's stupid. I mean, he's wrong. It just makes no sense. But he wants it. It makes him happy. And that matters. It is stupid, but that matters. That he's happy. Appleberry, I hope you're happy. I think this list actually will be fun. But if I have a I insist, like if you were in the area and you were coming to play on the channel, I wouldn't insist anything, quite frankly. But if I had one, I insist it would be change your battle formation. That's it. Okay, we're back. Bartok's here. We did it. We did the list. We did what we got wrong. I'm going to say bye. We're going to wrap things up here. Couple things moving forward. Tomorrow, speaking of Night Haunt versus City Sigmar. It's actually going to be a really fun game. Sunday we have the hobby show at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Devin is going to be here. Super amazing painter. He's been on the channel before, but it's been a little while. He's active in our Discord. And Devin will be working with Meg. They're going to be kind of like doing like starting a coaching project thing with Meg's Agrodons for her Seraphon. So it'll be super fun. I think that's it. Thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate it. As we like to say, be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, always be creating. Bye, folks. Say bye, Bartok. Bartok.